All right, hey guys, today we're going to talk about Europe starting World War II. And it's going to be unbelievable, the events that happen that unfold there in Europe. So the essential questions are, why did the non-aggression pact shock the world? Describe the Blitzkrieg, and how did Japan get involved in the war, and on what side were they? Okay, so when we finish the video, you should be able to answer these. All right, so in 1939, Hitler and Stalin agree in Germany and the USSR sign a non-aggression pact. So this means they agree not to fight each other. This will shock the world. And why does it shock the world? Mainly because the next line, their beliefs, communism for Stalin and Nazism for Hitler, are so different. So different. Communism is very far left politically, like left of liberal, and Nazism is like right of conservative. So they could not be further apart. So different. But Stalin knew that Hitler would take on the capitalists and that would help Stalin. And he felt like that, in a sense, Hitler could protect him from the movement of capitalism across the world. An interesting cartoon here, political cartoon that's drawn, shows Hitler here and Stalin here over a dead body agreeing to terms. So that's the non-aggression pact. Two very different men, very different beliefs, but they're actually going to agree to come together because they both want to stop, basically, the Americans and the rise of capitalism. They want to take over the world, each of their own. So they'll sign the non-aggression pact. Then, September 1st, 1939, Hitler will invade Poland. Now, you have watched the video on Hitler, and you saw that he believed that Germany was a nation that had been oppressed, obviously, and had no land of their own. So, which is untrue. But anyway, they're going to now look to the east and take all the land to the east up to Russia and USSR. And this includes Poland, which was directly east of them. So he will march into Poland and take them. September 3rd, 1939, Britain and France finally wake up and see that they have to do something because this is Hitler's march to take all of Europe. And they declare war on Germany. So war had begun. If you were with us last May when we had the Holocaust survivor come, Mr. Glass, Morris Glass was his name. He, if you recall, grew up in Poland. He was a Polish Jew. And in fact, his story is so interesting, and why I bought the books for our students and why I had the students read the book and I invited Mr. Glass to come is because more Polish Jews were killed during the Holocaust than any other, even more so than German Jews. So they are almost annihilated in Poland. Millions of Polish Jews die. Why? Because Hitler takes Poland first, and Mr. Glass explains in his book that within about 3 weeks, Hitler had taken over their entire country and was almost through Poland 3 weeks out. So that means he had covered all of Poland and all the Nazis were in Poland within 3 weeks. And Morris Glass's life would forever change. They burned his father's books. They took them out of their homes, put them in Jewish ghettos, which was at that time basically a prison. They would put guards around the city, move you out of the city, put you in another place, and they lived in these apartments with no heat, no sanitation, and there was actual fences around them in many cases where you could not get out. That was the good news. Later they would be put into internment camps and death camps. So anyway, this is bad. It's really bad for Poland. Poland is just significant in this because they're the first invaded. Okay, I may have a picture of that. Yes. So here is, I said it was bad. This is a picture of Poland after the Nazi invasion. So they'll go through and burn, destroy much of Poland. Really sad story. All right, so the Allies had more troops, the French, the British, but Germany has more weapons. Remember from the video, they have defied the Versailles Treaty and they have built up their military, both their air force and their army, their tanks, their boots on the ground, also their U-boats. So they have more weapons. They unveil their new form of attack, which they have studied, and it's called the Blitzkrieg, which means lightning war. Now, Blitzkrieg comes in phases, and they could do it different ways, and they'll use it different ways in different areas. But generally speaking, fast, concentrated air and land attack to take the enemy by surprise. So they would have dive bombing warplanes. So warplanes would come in and drop, missiles, and then that was the Stukas, and they would shatter the defense lines, scare civilians to death. They often did this at night. Then armored tanks, the panzers, would come in, and the panzers would roll in and punch through the enemy lines on the ground and capture opposing troops. Then the boots on the ground would come in, the infantry, move in and occupy the land. Okay, so Blitzkrieg is air attack, then the tanks roll in underneath on the ground, then the men march in, boots on the ground. Okay? Blitzkrieg allows Germany to take Poland in 1 month. So I mentioned within 3-ish weeks, the Nazis are all the way through. I shouldn't really say Nazis. I should say the German army, because there is a difference. So the German army has gone through. Allies could not help Poland in time. A picture of Blitzkrieg. Excellent picture of this. Here are the planes coming in, and here are the tanks. Okay, so planes, tanks, then boots on the ground. All right, so Stuka, panzers, then boots on the ground. Okay, France. France had made a strong defense line. Very smart of them. However, it's not really going to work. They call it the Maginot Line, and it was concrete wall, extra artillery that faced out towards Germany. So France is on the border with Germany, and they're not stupid. When they know that Germany has invaded Poland, they know that Germany's some of them are going to come their way. So there's going to be an attack on France, they think most likely. So they build the strong concrete wall defense line along their border between them and Germany. And it says America called waiting on the Germans a phony war. So all these Frenchmen are going to sit on the wall and wait and wait and wait. They feel strongly that the Germans are going to come at them. There was a problem, though, with the Maginot Line. That's why I said it didn't work. I mean, it worked in a sense. The Germans are not going to attack it. They're going to find a different way. So interesting. Here's the underground of the Maginot Line. I think this is incredible. So concrete fortifications up here, and then you have all this underground. Here's the entrance from the outside. Underground, all this land territory, and underground fortifications, sleeping quarters, mess room for the French soldiers. This is what happens, though. Here is the strong fortifications I just showed you. These were a lot weaker going into Belgium, so kind of sporadic, not a solid concrete area, and not as many troops altogether in this region. So guess what the Germans are going to do? They're going to come through here and hit Belgium and come on in to France. So they're just going to avoid this area altogether. All right, in that sense, it didn't really work. Okay? All right, so Hitler is then going to attack Denmark and Norway. He will attack the Netherlands, Belgium, I just showed you, Luxembourg, all using the Blitzkrieg. Okay? The planes, the tanks coming in, then the troops. So pretty rough stuff that they face. It says then Hitler sweeps through France and the government abandons Paris. So on June 22nd, 1.5 million French troops surrender in Paris. Remember from World War I, when I demonstrated, I walked outside the room and I said that the Germans had gotten like within 20, 30 miles of Paris, but they're stopped. They cannot get into Paris. And I said Hitler will remember this. The Germans did not make it into Paris and that the Germans are turned back. He will remember. And it says France is now in the hands of the Germans. Hitler will march into Paris with his German army and take Paris very quickly using the Blitzkrieg. All right. And it says then he will look across the English Channel. I was hoping I had, but I don't. There's a famous picture of Hitler at the Eiffel Tower overlooking Paris, looking all smug because he's taken Paris. Now he looks across the English Channel to Britain. So now he thinks, okay, I've taken all these countries, okay, Norway, all the way to Belgium, into France. Now I'm going to take Great Britain. So he sets his sights on Great Britain. There's a quote from Winston Churchill. Here's the Battle of Britain. They're going to bomb the heck out of Britain, London. Okay, bomb, 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 bomb. Why no tanks, though? Because you have the English Channel there, a great waterway, and it's too difficult for the Germans to have boats there to take over their tanks, so they just use air. So for 2 months, the Germans lead the Luftwaffe the air attack on Britain, and this is called the Battle of Britain. It says the Blitz was the bombing of London using fire bombs with a mix of chemicals. The British hold their own, though. It's awful, though. They bomb mostly at night to scare the heck out of the civilians so that they don't sleep. And days and days and days of bombing at night, nighttime bombing means that the people do not sleep. They're trying to clean up the rubble during the day, and then next night you repeat. So they're exhausted, but however it happens, they hold their own, and Germany never launches an invasion of Britain. They really needed tanks there. They don't bring them in, therefore they don't take Britain. Okay, Japan. So during World War I, Japan had been part of the Allies, you remember, and we mentioned that in class. When the Great Depression hits Japan, everything is just awful, just like it was in Germany. It says radical nationalists take control by taking the military over. And it says the Japanese army take all of Manchuria. So they invade Manchuria, which was not their territory, as part of China. So here's Manchuria. So Japan over here in the sea comes in and takes Manchuria. All right, U.S. and Britain protest this. It's no different from Germany taking Poland. And they say this is breaking the Kellogg-Briand Pact. Why is Japan doing this that they had signed? Japan resumes its invasion of China in July of 1937. They occupy Beijing and kill over 100,000 Chinese civilians. So Japan invades China. U.S. President Roosevelt is going to want to quarantine, cut off Japan by protecting other nations. They passed the Neutrality Acts, though Congress does. Congress says we're staying out of this. We're not getting involved. So, not a good idea. September 1940, Japan allies itself with Germany and Italy because this is what the Germans are doing, so they might as well be buddies. All right, and they signed the Tripartite Pact and signed a neutrality pact with the USSR. So war with Japan is now on the horizon. Japan's gobbling up China and other areas, Manchuria, and we say we're going to stay out of it, and then they sign a deal with Germany and Italy. At this point, is the United States involved in the war? No. Who are the allies? We're not in there yet. Britain and France. Anyone else that want to fight Germany? Axis, Germany, Italy, Japan. Axis, Germany, Italy, and Japan. Okay? Go back to your essential questions. Make sure you answer them. Why is the non-aggression pact shock the world? Because Hitler and Stalin are so different. Hitler, that was terrible. Hitler, fascist, Nazi, and Stalin, communist. Blitzkrieg, air tank, boots on the ground. Japan's gobbling up China. Okay, see you guys later.